What up, YouTube stackers? Big Stack McGee here. How are you doing tonight? I wanted to talk about a subject that's been often discussed in the comments of my videos and whatnot. People want to know, how do I feel about the gold to silver ratio, and does that impact my stacking philosophy, the things that I buy and whatnot? And specifically, I think that the reason I'm bringing this video up now is because I saw an excellent video by Shadow Stack this past weekend where he posited a question. He said, if the silver and gold ratio tightens up dramatically, would you sell your silver to buy gold? And it was a great topic, some really great insights there on his channel, so I'm going to put the link to that specific video in the description of this, so please go check out his channel and that video. But for me specifically, I guess the question remains, how do I feel about that? Because I do have thoughts on this. When I started stacking, the silver-gold ratio was about 60 ounces of silver to about 1 ounce of gold. Right now, it's more like 80 ounces of silver for 1 ounce of gold. Okay? And before I go any further into it, I just want to tell you that I do not look at myself as a silver and gold trader. Okay, there's a reason that I hold on to the physical silver and gold, as opposed to just, funds, silver and gold funds and whatnot. If I was a trader, I might just have shares of silver and gold because that'd be easier to liquidate or to transfer if the time was right. But that's not how I look at my silver and gold strategies. I believe in long-term wealth storage through gold and silver as opposed to silver trading. I do look at myself as an opportunist. Like, if an opportunity comes up to buy either silver or gold on the cheap, I jump on it. And for those of you that have watched my channel for any time, you know that I look at both very fondly. I buy way more silver than I do gold. In fact, probably more than 80 ounces of silver for every ounce of gold that I buy. But I think what it comes down to is I'm not waiting for some moonshot where all of a sudden silver's going to skyrocket and then I'm going to take that opportunity and jump on the bandwagon and take all of my silver and cash it in to get as much gold as possible. And there's a couple of reasons for that. The first of which is I just don't think that opportunity is going to present itself, at least not in the way that we might dream of. Let's say, for instance, that the markets shift, something happens with the stock market or world situation and whatnot, and all of a sudden silver goes from being worth about $16 an ounce to $30. Let's just pretend that happens, okay? For those of you that have seen dramatic raising in the price of gold and silver and dramatic droppings, what do the bullion dealers do in situations where stuff like that happens all of a sudden? The first thing that happens is they adjust their premiums accordingly to make sure that they don't lose money. Okay? So if silver were to rise to $30 an ounce, and let's just say gold goes from $1,300 an ounce to $1,500, okay? So you're going to see a dramatic tightening of that ratio between silver and gold. Do you think you'd even be able to take all of your silver and immediately walk out of a coin store or a bullion dealer with gold? You wouldn't be able to without them covering their bases, I can tell you that. So the situation, I think, in terms of going, I want to be able to make sure that I maximize, I don't want to say profit, but just the value using the gold to silver ratio will rarely work in a heartbeat for people like us that are stacking it, okay? Bullion dealers will always make sure that they come out on top because they have to. It's their business model. They have to make sure that they get money both on the sale of their precious metals and on the purchase. And when it comes to the trading, if there's a situation where they need to cover their bases, they will do so. Even if it might not seem fair. It's like, wait a minute. Well, here's an example, okay? I remember when silver was $19, $20 an ounce, and all of a sudden it dropped down to $17, $16, $15. Everyone was looking for, all right, now it's time to grab some cheap physical silver. And guess what? Premiums skyrocketed. Unless you got on right away in order to secure some orders, all of the premiums jacked up, and people are frustrated. They're like, I'm ready to buy. I'm ready to back up the truck. I got lots of dry powder. And that's where opportunity cost comes in. What's it going to cost for you to be able to dump your silver and purchase gold? well, the premiums are probably going to adjust accordingly, and your opportunity is not necessarily as great as you might think it is. So I guess essentially the reason that I'm posing it in that way is that I believe equally in the value of silver and gold. I love both, and I use both for long-term wealth preservation for myself. Ultimately, I love silver because I think it's cheap right now. I think it's very cheap. I think it's undervalued, but it takes up a lot of space. And while I continue to stack silver, long term, I want more of this stuff too. But I'm not willing to pay a massive premium for it. And I'm also not willing to wait too long to buy it, because if deals come up, I'm going to take advantage. So hopefully that makes sense. And I apologize for the ramblings. I'm just kind of throwing this out there. I don't have like bullet points that I'm following or something like that. But bottom line is that, for my first point, is that I think bullion dealers will cover themselves in such a way that for those of us that think like, I'm going to back up the truck and be able to pick up gold and get rid of my silver all at the same time when some massive price correction happens, I don't think it's going to happen the way that you want it to. Okay. And secondly, as kind of like what Shadow Stack had said in his video, he's not going to wait until this ratio tightens before he starts buying gold, and I'm not either. When you want to get it, you don't know what's going to be available to you, and you don't know what the situation's necessarily going to be. Like I said, I like both, and I'm going to get both as it fits into my strategies and whatnot. I like to get deals. I love buying gold and silver as close to spot price as I can. Sometimes it makes more sense to just pick up silver. Sometimes the opportunity comes up to buy gold, and I jump on that as well. So I guess to answer your question, do I use the silver and gold ratio as a barometer for what to buy and when? No, I don't. And I also I'm not waiting for some moonshot so that I can cash in all my silver and pick up gold. Although long term, I am probably looking more for gold than I am for silver long term, simply because of the ease of storage and because of it's a little less volatile than silver is in terms of the prices, ups and downs and things like that. When you see what $20,000 of silver looks like compared to $20,000 of gold, a lot of questions are answered. I'll just put it that way. It's very impressive to see the amount of gold that $20,000 is versus what silver is. That might be a good topic of a video at some point to kind of show both of those at the same time, at least in terms of the current gold to silver ratio. But for those of us that have been stacking a long time, you know how big your stack can be and how tricky it can be to store and whatnot. It's a lot easier to store a lot more gold. But all those aside, I do love both gold and silver. I'm going to continue to stack both as I see fit. If I wanted to jump on ratio stuff, I would probably be a silver trader. I'd probably have funds and whatnot, but I don't believe at all in having funds when I can hold physical wealth in my hands. Okay, that's a bottom line for me. So like I said, I am an opportunist. If an opportunity arises for me to be able to take advantage of a certain situation, whether it's there's a lot of gold dumped on the market all of a sudden and the premiums are really low and the premiums are rising up for silver and I'm able to somehow convert some, I might jump on that opportunity, but it's going to be a calculated, patient decision, and it is not going to be something where I feel like I have to do right now and hurry up before the rest of the market catches on, because number one, I'm just not that smart. Number two, I'm probably not going to be quick enough, and I just don't believe in being on that leading edge of something where I'd be able to take advantage where other people wouldn't. So, trying to think if there's anything else on this topic that I want to bring up. I think partly it's also when I look at the situation for myself as a stacker, commonly I have to defend myself to some of my critics in terms of like what exactly I'm buying. People will say, you know what, that purchase you made, why would you do that when you could have had this and whatnot? And it's different for everybody. Some of us are collectors. Some of us are looking for long-term wealth storage. Some of us just like having as low premium stuff as possible. And I'm a kind of a little bit of everything. But for those people that like to jump on channels and say, you're stupid for buying that, well, I guess if everyone's got their opinion, and it's obviously a very subjective topic. But I'm just happy to keep on doing what I'm doing, and I don't feel like any hurry or any kind of anxiety over when can I sell it and when can I do any of that stuff, because ultimately I don't know that I'm ever going to sell any of it. You know, like I said, I would like to pass it on to my kids, but if I need to use it for something, I'm going to take that advantage as well. That's what being an opportunist is. I've flipped some of this stuff before. There's times where I bought low premium silver. I remember, you guys remember Zombucks when that series came out? The Zombucks it was a nice looking silver round, but it was right at the height of the zombie phase, the craze, excuse me. And so I bought Zombucks rounds for like $19 a piece, and I sold an entire tube of them for $50 a piece. And I used the proceeds from that to buy a Johnson Matthey 20-ounce bar that I've had my eyes on for a long time. I thought that was awesome. And I've done several other little flips as opportunity has arisen, but none of that had to do with the gold and silver ratio. So that's where my, I guess, focus is going to be, is just taking opportunity and going from there. On Shadowstack's video, a really great comment from a fantastic YouTuber named Belange P. He had said that he was in a position around, I think, 2011 where he was able to take silver that he had bought extremely cheaply, and he was able to trade up for gold at the right time. And he had a fantastic situation. But he said hindsight's 20/20, and had he known then what he knows now, instead of just immediately taking that silver and buying into gold, he would have cashed out, waited for a little bit, stacked the cash, and then used that cash in a situation that would have benefited even more so. But hindsight's 20/20. That's one thing that's a truth that you can't deny, and I don't claim to have any kind of knowledge that anyone else doesn't. But the gold and silver ratio, as fascinating as it is, does not guide my everyday stacking. So I hope that answers your question. I sure appreciate you checking out not only this channel, but the content on this. I apologize for the ramblings if I repeated myself and whatever, but I just had to get some thoughts out there. I'm curious, how do you guys feel about the gold and silver ratio? And please leave a comment if it does guide your own purchases and maybe your long-term goals and whatever. I'd love to hear why, because I'd be happy to be swayed. But those are my thoughts on it. So thanks for watching. Big Stack McGee. I'll be back with you real soon. You guys have a great night. Take care.